Welcome to another episode, everyone. In 1996, in Corcoran State Prison on CR in Ford Building, a gangster disciple from Chicago slit the face of a Fresno Crip with a razor. This brutal attack transpired over a female officer. Shai Town is what we all called him. He was a gangster disciple from Chicago. People have asked me, have I ever done time with a gangster disciple? Yes, I've done time with a few of them. Some of them have found themselves in a California state prison. Shai Town had been on the yard for a couple of years. And Corcoran at the time was immoral, as are most prisons, but Corcoran particularly so, because again, at this time, the officers were setting up fights and unaliving incarcerated people, shooting down on the yard during these fights and unaliving people. So the whole system there in Corcoran was rotten from top to bottom. It was corrupt. And all of the officers, for the most part, were corrupt. And a female officer dealing with an incarcerated person was not uncommon. Shai Town, along with everyone else, had been trying to get their hands on this female officer. Let's call her Miss Johnson. She was black, in her 30s, and beautiful. Can you imagine? 1,000 or so men, strong, gang-oriented, thuggish, uncouth, Neanderthal inclined, who have been locked up for 20 years, 25 years. And it's only a couple of female officers to go around. Oftentimes, fights happen over female officers. Everyone is trying to grab their attention in one way or another. Everyone thinks that she wants them. Everyone wants to get their hands on her. And it's infinite. It's never ending. But Miss Johnson had taken a liking to Shai Town. Shai Town was tall, dark-skinned, had waves. He's always had these little sunglasses on, player glasses, not Lokes, but he used to have on some type of player glasses. You could have different kinds of sunglasses in prison. He'd be on the yard with his radio, minding his own business. He was doing burpees before I knew what burpees were. And he was making money right there on the yard. Everyone on the yard respected Shai Town. He used to tell us stories about the gangster disciples. He had been in prison in Chicago, and he used to tell us about the politics in the prisons there in Chicago and the difference. And I used to listen to him all the time and talk to Chicago. He was about 32, 33 years old, and I was 21. Or 22. So I used to listen to him all the time. And he was just a cool dude. And he was never in any danger or jeopardy based on the fact that he was from Chicago. Now, no matter how much respect you have, and he had a lot of respect from everyone on the yard, all of the blacks on the yard liked Shai Town because of the way that he carried himself. But your power can only go so far if you are an out-of-towner. If you are from out of state and you're in California, your power is only going to go, it's like you cannot call shots for a gang in California and you from Chicago. You can't call shots in prison, nowhere else. It's not going to happen. So your power can only go so far. So Shai Town, he kept his distance, perhaps understanding the prison dynamics and that he's in another state and just not to get too comfortable, even though, again, he was not in any danger whatsoever by any Crips or any Bloods or any other faction, just based on the fact that he was from Chicago. He was black. He was with us. He was with the black community. He worked out with us. He worked out alone. You can tell he was well-read, well-educated, well-versed, well-spoken. And again, he garnered the respect of everyone there. Now, this dude from Fresno, let's call him Little Cuz, because he was real little. Almost like a midget, small, dark skin, with French braids going back. I forget what gang he was from in Fresno, but he was a Crip. And he had an infatuation with Miss Johnson, as did many incarcerated people. Everyone wanted her. Everyone wanted, Miss Jones, Miss Smith, whatever woman is around. But Miss Johnson happened to be pretty. But even if you're not so attractive, you're going to get attention there in prison. The fact that she was attractive and her personality was so cool, she messed with the blacks. She was cool with the blacks. Again, this was a corrupt facility. And so even the COs knew that she was too chummy, she was too cool with the black population there, but she probably had dirt on them. They didn't dare say a word. Lil Cuz is running around the yard telling people that Miss Johnson is his girl, but everyone knows that she is indeed Shai Town's girl. She's at his door constantly. She's bringing him in stuff. It's a whole lot going on there. This is Shai Town's girl. Lil Cuz approaches Miss Johnson knowing that this is Shai Town's girl. And he's capping at her. He's shooting at her. He's telling her, won't you mess with me? What's up with you? He's not worried about going to the hole, getting written up or any of that. He knows that she's crooked, that she's messing with someone in there. He knows that all of these officers are crooked. And so Miss Johnson is now in a quandary. She doesn't know whether or not to tell this dude, I already got somebody, I'm messing with this dude in here, because she don't know if this dude, Lil Cuz, is going to turn her in. But she wants to tell him so that he can bag up. Not just, hey, don't come at me like that because I'm an officer, because she knows that he knows that she's messing with this dude. So she just wants to tell him, this is my dude right here. Bag up. And she told him just that. I'm messing with Shai Town. Lil Cuz, he took exception to that. He's fixated on Miss Johnson. He used to stare at her when he would come to the day room. Every time she passed by his cell, he would make a comment. And he even voiced out loud, how is somebody from Chicago going to just come in here, come to our prison basically and just, there's only so many females around here. And everybody tell him, bro, it don't matter where he from. He one of us. He black. He with us, bro. We not finna play that shit. We're not going to separate because he from Chicago. No. Accept it, bro. She told you she messing with him, and that's that. Basically, everybody told him to bag up off of her. He's essentially beginning to harass Miss Johnson. But Lil Cuz is willful and intractable. He's not listening. He sends a love letter to Miss Johnson. Now, she said that she told Shai Town that she accepted the letter, not because she didn't know what was in there. She wanted to know what was in there. She wanted to let him know what was in there, Shai Town. And essentially, she was afraid that if she did not accept the letter, since she's already revealed that she's messing with Shai Town, that this dude, again, will hold that over her head and turn her in. The letter said, forget about Shai Town, leave Shai Town alone, mess with me, we can make money together, I'm the one have respect. He from Chicago, he can never have the respect and power that I have on this yard and inside of any California prison. Come mess with me, baby. Shai Town is livid when Ms. Johnson, reveals what was in the letter to him, to Shai Town. He says, okay, let me handle this. He go talk to the hierarchy from Fresno, the Crips. Shai Town does, and then he explains to them what the situation is. You guys have asked this dude to bag up. He has not done that. In fact, he has upped the ante. He's put more pressure on my girl, man. You know, he knows that this is my girl. He's sending her love letters and all this. And they like, what? And he say, yeah. Now, you all may find it difficult to understand or digest and absorb the fact that people are fighting over a female in prison and over a police, an officer, the 5-0, the enemy, the opposition. But again, they don't view her as this because she is already breaking the law. So they're not looking at her as a police. She's the police, but she's breaking the law for Shai Town. So she's all in. They told Shai Town, get the letter. Prove it, show us the proof that he did this. It is what it is. Shai Town told Ms. Johnson, give me the letter. She gave him the letter. The letter is on the whole yard. Everybody looking at the letter. Now the Crips, just Crips from LA and all that, they all, again, had love for Shai Town, this dude that was a gangster disciple. And so they let the Fresno card know that there will be no attacking Shai Town, no group attack. Whatever Shai Town wants to do to handle this situation with y'all homeboy, that's just what it is, bro. And they all agreed. They said, no, we ain't gonna, because we had already told this dude, man, to bag up. He's headstrong. He's not listening. He wants to run his own program. Shai Town, he was reluctant. He was apprehensive. He was not sure if the Crips would get involved and attack him if he did something to Lil Cuz. I can understand his reservations. Hell, if I'm in a prison in Chicago, I'm sure I would be hesitant to attack a gangster disciple, and they fill the jail, and I'm a Crip from California. That probably won't go too well. Even the vice lords might get in and attack me or something, just because they all from Chicago. Even though they're arch enemies, they're all from Chicago. So he doesn't know if the Crips are going to get involved or even the Bloods, because he's from Chicago, and attack him or jump him, pack him out, if he is getting the best, which more than likely will be the scenario of Lil Cuz, because Lil Cuz is little. Chicago is not. He's a strong, grown man. But the Crips convinced Chicago that they had love for him and that there was going to be no packing out. That they had already warned Lil Cuz about his indiscretions and transgressions, and that he didn't want to listen. Now, they could have just removed him themselves. They decided to throw their hands up, wash their hands with it, and say however you're going to handle it, Shai Town, however you see fit to handle it, you do so. Shai Town said, okay, fine. Once he was convinced that he can handle his business without interruption, then he cultivated a plan. The Crips did tell him, whatever you do not use a weapon, because he is still a Crip, he is still our homie. Don't use a weapon, but if you just talking about attacking him or whatever, then that's one thing. But Shai Town, he later said he was thinking, well, what if he has a weapon? So Shai Town said that he would just come to the fight with a weapon, not looking to use it. But he's going to have one. He's not going to tell anyone that he has one, just in case little cuz has a weapon. But this is a level 3. This is Corcoran, though, a very violent level 3, but still not oftentimes are weapons used there. But it does happen. Not long after, in the day room at nighttime, we had night day room there in Corcoran. Everyone is there. No one knows what's going on. Shai Town didn't tell anyone. He just got the confirmation that it was okay for him to take care of his business as long as he didn't use a weapon. But he hadn't told anyone like, well, I'm finna do this today and tonight, or this is what I'm gonna do. You know, none of his homies are here. He's from Chicago. These are all Crips and Bloods. This is still their homie. So he's still proceeding with caution. And this was sagacious of him. It would not have been prudent to alert his homies about his plans. Coming off a day room and everyone's in there in the day room watching TV, playing cards at the tables, working out, etc. Normal day room activities. Shai Town, he approaches Lil Cuz. And he says, man, you wrote my girl a letter, man, this and that. Lil Cuz like, man, I don't want to hear that. And Shai Town fired on him before he can even get it all out of his mouth. Bam! Everybody looking, everybody sitting down. A couple Crips stood up, but they didn't rush over there. They just, everybody just, it's best to stand up until they tell you to get down so that you're not a sitting duck, in case it just goes up. You have to be careful. People just stand up and everybody stand down. Everybody stand down. Let them handle that. Everybody yeah, we ain't standing up for that. We ain't finna do nothing. We already told them we ain't not jumping in. Shai Town found him. Bam. And they scrapping. Then Lil Cuz, he bagged up like ducked and got up out of there, almost ran, like almost running. But he was just buying himself time to go inside of his waistband, and he pulled out some little makeshift weapon. This was astonishing, being that it's a level 3. But Lil Cuz apparently knew what was going on. He knew that the letter had gotten out on the yard, that people had seen the letter, and that he had just dirty Mac Shai Town, that he mentioned him in the letter, said his name in there, told this woman to leave this man alone, that he's no good for her. Come mess with me, baby. So he's embarrassed that the letter has gotten out. He knows Shai Town knows about the letter. He knows Shai Town is the one that's passing this letter around. He knows that Miss Johnson gave Shai Town the letter. He's been exposed. He can't face her. He can't face Shai Town. He can't face his homies on the yard. So he knows something is coming. He knows it. He probably thinks that his homies are going to have his back. But just in case, he had a little makeshift weapon. He pulls it out. After he runs and gets away, he pulls it out and acts like he's coming towards Chicago with the weapon. But Shai Town, well, you can call him Quick Draw McGraw, because he produced the blade from his mouth area, from under his tongue. People have blades like this. They carry them right under their tongue or inside of their cheek in prison or in the county jail. I never did it. I'm not taking a chance on cutting my shit up. But some people do it. They become experts at it, and he's whipped out a blade out of nowhere and sliced that Lil Cuz and sliced him right across the face. Blood started leaking everywhere in the day room. Lil Cuz started hollering, ah! Grabbed his face. Ah, man. Because the little weapon he had was some little plastic, almost like a pen, sharpened up or something. It was a little joke, but Shai Town was not a joke. And they had told him, do not use a weapon. But they understood that Lil Cuz pulled out the weapon first. And Shai Town was just prepared for it just in case. He had never produced a weapon. They was just fighting until Lil Cuz put out a weapon and was coming towards him with it. And then Shai Town produced his and sliced him right in the face. And it was it. That was over. He grabbed his face. They rushed him in his cell trying to clean him up and patch him up. He had to go to medical and they got him up out of there. Because they knew he had been sliced. They just didn't know who had done it. You can tell. He had a whole, scar going across his face for life. And no one jumped in. No one did anything to Shai Town. As they said that they would not. They kept their word. They didn't want to see their homie get his face sliced. This is not what they had signed up for. They had told him, do not use a weapon. So at that point, I would not have been surprised if they would have jumped in. But Lil Cuz pulled out a weapon first. And this is what caused Shai Town to produce his weapon and start swinging it. Before then, he had not done it. So they decided to stand down. And that was it. And it was all over her. It was all over a female officer that we're going to call Miss Johnson. But this happens in prison. Some of these officers quit their jobs and get married to the incarcerated person that they have fallen in love with. They get pregnant by these incarcerated men. All of this has happened. I remember one gang leader they was talking about had 4 different deputy women in the county jail that he was in pregnant. 4 at the same time. They come at these CO women. That's a whole nother story. He had to get off the yard for his betrayal, and everyone supported the decision, and there was no fallout on Shai Town's behalf after the fact. Stay safe and stay free, people.